welcome back to What's Stranger Than Strange. My name is Erin. On today's episode, we're going to introduce a new category to the channel. This particular category is in the area of cryptids. For those of you that are not familiar with what a cryptid is defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary as an animal that is said to have existed but has never been definitively proven to exist. The story of the Jersey Devil is as follows. A woman named Deborah Smith, some sources say her name could have been Jane Smith, immigrated from England in the 1700s to what is now the modern U.S. When Ms. Smith arrived in the country, she eventually met and married Mr. Daniel Leeds. Once her and Mr. Leeds were married, she and her husband settled down in present-day Leeds Point, New Jersey. This area of New Jersey is located in Galloway Township, and their home, more specifically, was located in the Great Swamp that is along the Mullica River. The area where the Leeds family settled in the Pine Barrens is estimated to be approximately 1,700 square miles of forested area. This area is also the first recognized reserve in the United States as of 1978, according to the video by Real History that I will link below. Mr. and Mrs. Leeds went on to have 12 children, and when Mrs. Leeds found out that she was pregnant with her 13th child, she made a statement that has become the basis for the Jersey Devil folklore. Upon learning that she was pregnant with the 13th child, it is believed that she said, "May it be the devil." Now, a professor named Angus Cress Gillespie, who is a professor at Rutgers University, believes that in modern terms, what Mrs. Leeds was trying to express was that she was very tired with the care of the home and then caring for 12 other children, and then it was just an expression of her exhaustion at that point when learning that she's been working with all these kids and then now she's got a 13th one coming. This professor did also say that there is a suspicion as well that the family was not very well liked by the community, and that will play into some of the versions of the stories. One common theme that I've seen across the board is that Mrs. Leeds has made the comment saying, "May it be the devil," about her baby. And there is some variation that she made this comment upon learning that she was going to give birth to her 13th child. Some say that she actually made the comment when she was going through labor in February of 1735 with baby 13. Another independent historian named Rochelle Christopher has stated that she has heard a version as well that claimed that the baby, as soon as he was born, was a normal baby, but then he soon after turned into something that resembled the devil based off of the words of his mother. The baby was said to have begun sprouting wings, horns on top of his head. He had claws for hands, hooves for feet, and he proceeded to basically unalive his mother, his father, the midwives that were present for his birth, and the other children that were in the home. Upon doing these things to everyone that was present at his birth, he proceeded to escape out of the house through the chimney and out into the pine barrens. Now, there are a couple stories relating to his birth. So, legend number 2 states that the baby was cared for by Mrs. Leeds, and once she passed away, the baby escaped out into the wilderness to care for itself. Number 3, some say that because the family was to possibly have been disliked by the townspeople, that he may have been just a child that was born with a deformity. And because of a lot of religious influence in the area, it is suspected that the family may have been labeled unfairly, and then the baby labeled as cursed by the devil because of his appearance. So it is estimated that there are 2,000 plus sightings of the Jersey Devil to date. The encounters that I'm going to discuss are coming from a few individuals that are listed in the video that I will link below. The first person that was an eyewitness to the Jersey Devil was a woman named Jerry Plumeri. She witnessed the Jersey Devil, I want to say back in the 1950s, when she was on her way back from the shore in New Jersey. It was her and it was a friend or a couple of friends that were riding back in the car, and they were driving down a roadway basically in the wooded areas, traveling back to where she lives. And upon them making their way home, a creature that she described as an 8-foot tall creature that had the head of a horse, red lights for eyes, claws for hands, and legs that bent backward, hooves for feet, wings on their back, walked into the roadway. I believe that she had also talked about there being a screaming sound when there was the presence of this particular creature. In her account, she stated that she and one of her friends, I believe, and the creature all just stared at each other for like a good 2+ minutes. And nothing ended up happening, but the creature flew away after that. And the second witness was the historian that I had mentioned earlier, Rochelle Christopher. She mentioned that she was also the executive director of Victorian Vanities, and she basically had said that she had an encounter that was similar to Miss Plumeri. While driving home, she said she had been driving for quite a while, and while she was making her way back, something walked into the roadway in front of her, and it appeared and then just flew away. However, I was a little confused at her report because she talked about it, saying that she saw it, but then later in the same video, she says that she doesn't believe in it. So that eyewitness account kind of made me that was a little skeptical. I don't know. That one was a little suspicious that they were maybe just possibly making something up. I'm not really 100% sure how to take that account. Another well-known history figure, Joseph Bonaparte, who is Napoleon's brother, while he was staying in Philadelphia for a while, he actually claimed to have seen the Jersey Devil as well. There are other, I want to say political figures as well that had seen the creature as well. They are listed on the article that will be linked below. It just goes into better detail as to who it was, but there are other people that have claimed like they've seen tracks and things like that in the snow, just various things that have in their minds pointed to a potential encounter with the Jersey Devil. The one that's listed in the article, I do not believe said that they actually saw them, but they saw like evidence that they had been there. I guess the individual said something about seeing tracks outside their windows, stuff like that. And then there was another set of encounters that occurred in January of 1909. And these encounters all occurred within 1 week of each other. The areas that were in question were Atlantic City, Philadelphia, and then around New York City. In 1 week, every witness saw it and said it just flew away. There were just a number of sightings. That was all that I really pulled from the information that I had heard. Just a number of sightings. Just a lot more than what they would normally see. Kind of scattered out, things like that. Number 5. So the next individual is pretty interesting. His name is Paul Evans Pedersen Jr. He's described as a singer, songwriter, I believe he said jewelry maker. He also wrote books about the Jersey Devil as well. He also claims to have seen the Jersey Devil 5 times. However, upon listening to the video about the Jersey Devil, he said that he has never actually seen his face, though. Anytime that he's ever seen this cryptid is usually when it's running away from him. He said he's never had a chance to actually see its face. He's always just caught a glimpse of it as it's running away. Now we'll talk about some common descriptions of the Jersey Devil. So, most commonly when people have encounters with this cryptid, they say that they hear screaming sounds. A lot of people say that if you don't particularly see it, you will always hear it. They say that the creature has the head of a horse or a dog, broad wings that it uses to fly, tail of a reptile was reported, a kangaroo's body, hooved feet, claws for hands, horns, etc. It has been reported in one version of the story that the Jersey Devil had basically unalived its family and the midwives that helped bring it into the world. However, no one that has really ever seen the Jersey Devil has reported it actually harming anyone. The story that was told about it that showed that it was violent, some are not really sure if it's actually violent necessarily, because how can there be 2,000 plus witnesses that have seen this or heard it and no one was reported at least to have been harmed by it. Paul Evans Pedersen Jr. also takes people on monster hunts in the Pine Barrens as well. He in the video shows how he just kind of gets in his van and just heads out to the woods and takes people along with him. He will take individuals to a couple places that have been said to be a hub of activity for the Jersey Devil. It is said that the Jersey Devil can be seen from time to time drinking water from the swamps, and people will catch him that way. Mr. Pedersen says that a number of sightings came from a town called Babstow that was established in 1766. This town was an industrial town that made glass items, iron, and I want to say they said munitions for the wars that had come through the area, or just, things for residents that lived around the area. Most people reported in that area that when they would have encounters with the Jersey Devil back in the 1700s and all the way up till now, people reported that when they had encounters with the Jersey Devil in the 1700s, up until people no longer lived there, they would always hear a screaming, screeching sound. The other place that is a area of activity as well is called, I believe, Belltown Road. That is another place that Mr. Pedersen will take people on tours. To kind of wrap everything up here, Mr. Pedersen says that when people begin to report seeing the Jersey Devil, that there is a war that's coming. That's kind of like the old saying, or old wives' tale. The other thing is that I guess kids will do this thing where if they see a Jersey Devil footprint in the soil, that they will go and grab a shovel and dig up the footprint, stick it in a jar, close the jar, and hide it underneath their bed, and it's supposed to keep the Jersey Devil away. So as far as my thoughts on what is actually going on, I have a couple theories. And again, I do think that the baby could have just been born deformed, and they just labeled the baby as the devil or cursed by the devil. I do also think that it could really be an omen, like when people in different areas report seeing something strange before a major disaster. Just kind of like an entity that is basically like warning people, but I don't know how far I want to go into that. But if you all happen to know about another entity that is out a little bit toward the eastern side of the country that is also supposedly a messenger of disaster, just keep that thought, because that will be another video coming up. If you know, you know what I'm talking about. And lastly, I do think that people are really seeing something, but I'm not really necessarily sure if it's an animal. I don't know if it's something that's supernatural. I do think it could very well be an undocumented animal, because they discover new species of animals and plants all the time. But one thing I was kind of questioning as well is if it really is something that is like an animal, or it's a person that's been, cursed and turned into something. How in the world is it living this long? If people are really still seeing it to this day, how is it living this long? So if it is something that's lived this long, I just think that it may potentially have to be something that is supernatural, because it would operate in an area outside of our time. So like our time would be different. It also may very well be an animal, though, that they've seen, the eyewitnesses have seen, but it just may be an animal that is undocumented. It may have, found a partner, kept creating more of this, said animal or creature. And that's just kind of a theory that I have about it. But all in all, though, I do kind of share the same feeling as some people do, that if it is in fact someone or something that has been basically cursed to roam around forever in the wilderness by itself like that, that is incredibly sad. To feel that everyone's afraid of it, have all these stories created about it saying that it is a evil entity that has, or evil creature that has hurt people when in fact it didn't. And then just, feeling like it wasn't loved from the moment that someone found out that they were going to be born. So it's just kind of sad. It's kind of a sad thought. But anyway, I would like for everyone to create a discussion below. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, please feel free to submit your stories. I will link my email down below. And just share, some ideas as to what you think it could be. Do you feel like it's a real thing? Do you feel like it's all made up? Just put it in the comments below. Until we meet again, everybody take care.